recording live on Facebook and music.
Now, I don't see a description.
It's there now.
Okay.
Yay! Welcome to Free Spirit Radio, the first edition. I am trusting and praying that everything is working out perfectly and that you can see me and hear me. And we were discussing right before we started how perfect Jason Goldberg is to be our first guest. One, because I can trust that he's going to be awesome and basically float all of this if we need a life raft. And also because he is just so fun that even if things mess up, he is the playful man. Like he's winning at the playful life. So I really feel like this is such a good example of like, just go for it. And that's partly what Free Spirit Radio is about anyway. So without further ado, let me introduce Jason. We did discover really quickly, anytime you talk to him, you're going to realize right away that he is the biggest nerd ever. He's a total technology nerd. Or as I said, you're such a fucking nerd. And he actually proposed to his wife on TV, which makes you fill with all sorts of visions. And the most amazing thing I think is that he just won the Outstanding Speaker Award, and he built himself up as a professional speaker, and now he's speaking internationally and is winning awards. So wait till you meet him. If you've never met him, you are blessed, and if you already have, let's get more of him. Jason, come on down, baby.
Oh, see, now I just tried to start my video and I can't, so you have to start my video.
Let's see. I'm going to make you a host.
This is the greatest thing ever. Okay, so it says I'm a host now. There I am. Okay. I now feel like the intro music for this thing should have been the Benny Hill theme song. That would have been just like, because there was just a comedy of errors. It's hilarious and it's perfect. I love it.
The theme song in particular?
Yes. Do you remember Benny Hill? You know who Benny Hill is.
I don't know who Benny Hill is.
Oh my God, are you serious? Okay, people need to comment. Just everybody type a 1 if you know who Benny Hill is. And put 2 if you have been living under a rock. Thank you. Cherie says that she knows.
Can I put a number 2? Andrea, we have been living under the same rock, my dear.
Was
Benny Hill popular by any chance between like 1995 and the year 2000?
No, like way earlier. It was a British comedy thing, and there would always be these things where he was like running around a car really fast, and the music was. All right, never mind. Forget it. I'm done.
Well, no, I have a million excuses. We didn't watch TV in my house, and then I lived on a hippie commune where there was no even electricity, really. So, yeah, I'm just like, if anything happened between 1995 and 2000, don't blame me if I have no idea what was going on.
So no gangster rap. You were not a gangster rapper.
I mean, gangster rap was still like, I know gangster rap. I also have raised a teenager. So yeah, I'm with it.
That's awesome.
She plays me some really crazy stuff. It's good.
That's
so welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on. You know, you're somebody who I fell in love with the first minute that I met you, even though when I met you, I didn't want to talk to anybody. And you're like, hey, I don't care if you're alone. I'm going to talk to you. And then I loved you. So it was perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I feel like it's a good reminder to like just go with your gut, because there was something in me. So just for everybody watching, we were at Infinite Receiving Live and Jason was a speaker. And so what happens when you're a speaker at a big event like that is people want to talk to you, right? And you're always on. And I understand that. But I didn't care, obviously. So he was sitting in this room like totally by himself on this huge bench. And I went to go to the bathroom and I was like, I'm going to go talk to him. Like I kind of planned out my moves, kind of like, you know, if I was at a movie, you know, and a seventh grade boy, like I did that because I went to the bathroom and I came back and I remember I kind of like slid in beside you. And I was like, we are going to be friends. I don't care if you want to be alone.
I'm so happy you did it. It was one of the highlights of the event for me.
It was so fun. We sat there and talked for I remember I was so thirsty too. The whole time I wanted to get up and I like couldn't. I was like, he's not going to talk to me anymore if I go get a drink of water.
That is incredible. I love it.
And now you guys have the ins and outs of, how to become friends with influencers.
Go pee, don't hydrate yourself. That's how you become friends with influencers.
Yeah, and just go for it and don't give a shit.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I do have a signature question that is now I'm going to create as my signature for the show. So I'd love to test it out on you.
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm
ready. What I want to know is, was there a certain point in your life that you really started living on purpose? That you were like, I'm done with the old and I'm going to go big. I'm going to go big, even if it's just in yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, wow, that's a really good question. I think there have been a lot of times where there was like some big shift in my life, whether it was personally or professionally. But as soon as you ask that question, I feel like that comes up for me on like a weekly or a monthly basis. I feel like there's always this level of, and I always equate it to service, right? So when I feel that need to go bigger, it's how can I serve bigger? Right? Sometimes it comes from ego and it's like, how can I do a program that's more expensive? And then that brings me a bunch of stress. And so I know that that's the wrong energy. And then all of a sudden they say, how can I serve at a deeper level? And then of course, what comes up is probably what would have come up if I had been in a service place thinking about a more expensive program, but it gets me to this place of service. So yeah, I think I'm constantly being stretched on how can I serve at a deeper level? How can I have more fun? I think it happens like on a monthly basis. But besides that, I mean, there was, you know, obviously the big shift for me when I left my corporate job a little over 6 years ago now. Wow, it was actually 6 years ago last month. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 years ago. Thank you very much. And I mean, that was a huge shift coming from being in corporate for 15 years to like being an entrepreneur. That didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. But I just knew there was something there that, that needed to be expressed in a way that my corporate job wasn't allowing me to. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was some other way that I needed to be expressed. And I knew that I was quieting some part of myself. Again, didn't know what that part was, but I was quieting some part of myself that wanted to be expressed. So that was a big one.
So what was the first move at that point?
So what happened was for me, when I left my last corporate job, I had been working on a startup. I started two more traditional companies before I became a speaker and a coach. And so the first one I was working on the side for about a year. So I was working full-time, more than full-time in my corporate job, 60, 70 hours a week. I was working on my startup. I was taking extended lunches at my corporate job and going and doing investor pitches and then rushing back to my corporate job after those pitches.
Oh, that doesn't sound stressful.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, I did 60 investor pitches over the course of 9 months to raise money. Was
that fun for you or was that stressful for you?
So it was a lot of fun, and this is going to sound really morbid. It was a lot of fun, but once you get to like the 20th time that you're pitching the same thing and nobody's writing you a check, it's this thing where like you're excited about what you're sharing and you're excited about sharing it, but at the same time you want to work in as part of your pitch, hey, by the way, if you don't invest in me, I'm going to blow my brains out directly in front of you right now, so you never ever forget me. So you have to do this like Michael Jackson thing where he sang "Man in the Mirror" 100,000 times, but every time he sang it, he had to come with the same energy as if it was the first time he was singing.
Oh yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So it definitely prepared me for the work I do now, because a lot of times I'm sharing the same message, but it allows me to really get back in touch with why I'm sharing it.
Oh my God, that's so good. So I was going to do a Facebook Live about this later, but maybe I'll just talk about it right now. I was at the gym and they have all these new dance classes, right? Like Zumba took off, but now I don't even know what it's called. Everyone, please put it in the comments if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like hip hop-ish, right? So there was a girl in there, total white girl, and she was doing it. And I just kept noticing her because it was noticeable. And I thought, what is that thing? What is the thing that she has that quite obviously the white girl next to her did not, right? Okay. It's all good. It's good.
Yeah.
And it hit me and I actually stopped. So this is how a lot of my content comes out. I just start questioning things in life. Yeah. And when you question, you get the answers, right? And so now the answers are in my notes on my phone and will become content maybe or maybe not now. So what it hit me, the reason, like why are some people good at dancing? Why does it feel like it's soul? Like we call it soul. That girl had soul. Why do some people stand out online? Why is some content magnetic and some not? And it really, I was like, here's the answer. The answer is the people who you notice are putting 100% in. They're putting all of themselves in, but not just that. Simultaneously, they are 100% letting go.
Yeah.
And it is that, like, you're just like, I am so in this that, like, there's nothing else that really matters. And so I can just also let it go at the same time. But I feel like
incredible.
That's the essence, right? Of showing up inside your message and giving all of it, because you can't have everything riding on everything you do.
Right. Absolutely.
That's too stressful.
Yeah.
But you also can't be doing anything half-ass.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a chapter in my book called "It's Not Your Only Line in the Play," right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because if you were in like a Broadway play and you literally had one line and it was like this big pivotal critical line and you're standing stage right waiting to come on stage and deliver this line, do you think some of the characteristics or qualities you would use to describe yourself in that moment are calm and relaxed and in flow? Or would you be like, oh my God, I'm stressed, I'm tense, pressure, what if I screw up this line? Like, that's a lot of pressure. But when we recognize that nothing we do is the only line in the play, that we don't just have a lot of lines, we have every line in the play, we can screw up a line here or there. And it doesn't really matter. And even if you do screw it up, if you're truly a stage performer, you have like 3 shows a day for the next 7 weeks where you get to do it again. Like, it's just, there's no pressure to nail it the first time because you have limitless times to experiment and recreate and reinvent and reimagine and remix. So yeah, put your all into this thing and recognize that it's irrelevant whether it's perfect or not, because you're going to have so many other chances to do things in the world.
I love that. And you are a performer, you speak on stage, but you also were a performer in the more classic sense, being a rapper.
Yes, it's very classic. Yes, I was classically trained as a rapper.
Well, that's funny because I full-heartedly meant that it was classic. What I meant was like being a musician, or like I was a performer, I was a belly dancer, like getting on stage and entertaining, I guess I should say.
Totally.
So speaking, I believe, is that as well. And I know you use those same skills, because so do I.
Yes.
But could you speak to that for a minute in terms of transitioning from, rapping on stage? Like, how do you use that energy of being a performer in your business now?
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, even it's so easy to connect the dots looking backwards, which is awesome, because that's all we can ever do anyways if we're here in the present moment, is that if I look back, the essence of my spirit of playfulness and of entertaining and performing has been around since I was 5 years old, right? It's like, it's not like I was like, in my shell all my life and all of a sudden in my 20s, I became a performer. There were clues throughout my entire life that sharing my energy in a way that evokes some kind of emotion from others is something I've always done, whether it was being a class clown or lip syncing songs when I was a kid for my family to make them all laugh, or, or being on stage rapping, or doing what I do now, which I call edutainment, right? Really bringing the education and the entertainment together, whether it's with rap or comedy or whatever, and personal growth, is that stuff's always been there. So a lot of people that probably both of us talk to are looking for like the thing that differentiates them, like the thing they need to figure out and find and build and cultivate in order to be remarkable. And it's like, wait, it's there. It's been there all along. Just like you said about the girl dancing with soul, like when you get out of your own way, what's left is your essence.
Yes.
Stop trying to manage people's impressions and perceptions of you. What's left is your authenticity, your realness, your value, your differentiation. So it's really just about like getting out of your own way, and that thing is just what's left. And that was what was left for me when I stripped everything else away and said, okay, yeah, it was rapping, or yeah, it was speaking, or yeah, it was being a class clown, but what's that golden thread that I'm weaving through that can pick up all those? And it's like, oh, it's performing. It's sharing my energy to evoke emotions from others. And then it was crystal clear.
Oh, I love that. And do you find that you use that as a practice, like a mindset practice to get on stage and to do more?
Absolutely. I mean, so I have, I do a lot of work around core values for myself, but also for my clients. And I have this tool I use called the ladder of self-leadership. And part of this is like finding where you really thrive. And for me, like my one core value, my one word, that the time that I'm in my highest level of consciousness, my greatest creative mind, my highest quality of thinking is enthusiasm, right? Enthusiasm, which is like from the Greek entheos, like the God within, right? So I find my God within when I'm enthusiastic. So anytime I can choose enthusiasm, it's not about having to find things all the time that bring me enthusiasm. That's a very selfish prisoner way to live, to have to require the universe to give me things to be enthusiastic about. When I create opportunities to be enthusiastic, I'm unstoppable. You cannot stop me if I have even a shred of enthusiasm with what I'm doing.
Oh, I love that. It really is about the essence. And that's funny because that was another question that I had planned, was that like, it's what are your core values, or like, what is your desired feeling? So you totally just nailed that. And I feel like that is a superpower. It's a superpower, like enthusiasm is your superpower. Yeah. But the fact that you know that it's your superpower is also a superpower.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you can use it in your life. And mine is very similar. It's excitement.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
I literally wake up every morning and think, what am I excited about today? And I lost it for a small bit of time after I had Ava. So when you're breastfeeding and you're up all night, it's really hard to get up and be excited in the morning. It is. And so I realized it about, maybe she was 9 months old or something. I started coming out of the fog, and I was like, I don't wake up every day and think about what I'm excited about, and it's fucking killing me. And I really just made an effort. I actually created a little routine around it, like essential oils, and I would do this like breathing, and I'd let it in and then I'd push it out, I would do like a whole thing. And now I don't really need to do that because I just naturally do it. But I feel like knowing that, what you just said, knowing it and being able to weave that into all of your content, especially because, most people we're going to be speaking to or that are going to be listening to this are in the online space.
Yeah.
And you did mention something about how to stand out. And do you think that that is the essence of really how to stand out?
What I'm getting clearer and clearer on now is that the essence of how to stand out is to be the model and the example and the giver of permission that you never had. Maybe that you had, either way. But I'm noticing more and more that the people that are the most drawn to me are the ones who don't give me the feedback saying, you're the smartest guy I've ever heard. You're the most amazing speaker I've ever heard. They say, you've given me permission to unleash something within me that was already there. You didn't teach me anything new. You gave me a model to go be who I am. Yeah. And so for me, it's like, keep in the back of your mind, it's not about your content, it's about how you're showing up. And people want that leadership, that guidance. They want that model, that example, that permission. And it's your job in this world to give it to them.
Yes, the permission. I love that. And we all need it. So what are some examples for you of times or people that give you that permission?
I mean, as soon as you said that, there's two that immediately come to mind that have given me so much permission. So one was the person that I credit me even starting to get my face on video was Marie Forleo.
Yes.
And I remember and I have actually a really funny story about that we may not have time to share. We'll see how it goes. But when I started following her a little over 4 years ago, she was the one where I was like, oh wait, it's okay to bring like goofiness and silliness, if that's your thing, like not to fake it and manufacture it, but if that's your thing, like that's okay to bring that in. And she really gave me permission to do that. And that's when I starting to bring my personality in. And when I started, it was probably very forced and very stiff still, because I knew I wanted it to be that way. And sometimes we let the people that we follow kind of become the dictators of how things are supposed to look. We don't realize that we can take the flavor of what they cooked as opposed to taking the exact ingredients.
Or just the permission, like you said, right?
Totally.
Okay, so Marie Forleo.
Marie Forleo. And then the other one is my mentor and a creative partner and one of my bromantic loves of my life is Steve Chandler. And Steve Chandler is just somebody who has shown me that it's okay for me to simplify the shit out of my message. That things don't need to be complex, that things don't need to be profound. They just need to be helpful. That's all people care about is it helpful? Oh,
I love that. Everybody write that. Like I am writing that down. It doesn't need to be complex. It just needs to be helpful.
And it doesn't need to be profound. And that's the big one. I think that's the big one that I just got a message from somebody this morning actually who had seen some webinar thing I did online who said, I realized from your webinar that I no longer have to try to create content that's profound, just content that's helpful.
Yeah.
And there's no pressure.
It really is a similar message, I think, to mine, which is like, you just need to be you. Right? Like I help people get seen for being them. And that is the core of it, that when you are in service, which you mentioned, right? That when you focus on being more in service, that helps you show up, that is the next level for you.
Yes.
Right. And in a way, it's always the question to ask, like, how can I serve more? How can I open my capacity? I use the words give and receive. Because I feel like for women especially, and you can speak to this for a man, women need to do a lot of work on receiving. And I feel like it's like when we can just be that simple with what we want to do next, then the messages really do show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And my perspective is actually really similar because I was raised by a single mother and I was surrounded by women my entire life. So I think I resonate a lot more with the plight of the woman not being able to receive than of whatever the man deals with. So I've been in that same place. And the way it manifests for me is deflection of praise, right? You know, the shrinking when you get the, I'm glad you enjoyed the masterclass. I was half drunk when I did it. Like, it's, I mean, I don't even drink, so that's a stupid one, but like, deflecting or saying like, oh, well, it wasn't that great, or that person's doing even better. And just even receiving those compliments is a really big thing. We were talking about this, about not discounting the things that you create.
Right. And that's a huge, so it's always a reflection. What you're willing to recognize in yourself is equal to what you're willing to recognize from other people or allow other people to recognize in you, right? So that is huge. Do you actively work on that?
I do. So I'm running a group program right now. We're in it called Playful Prosperity. And we have our Thursday theme in the Facebook group is laser brag, right? Brag your it is what we call it. And so it's a chance for everybody. Brag your it. Yeah. So everybody gets a chance to really, really brag and we've been challenging each other. So we had one person in the group who like bragged about how great their significant other was. And we're like, no, that's about them. That's not about you. Like, what does it say about you? Are you that good of a picker that you picked an amazing person? Are you that sexy and amazing that they wanted to be with you? Like, we have to own this. And I'm telling them to call me out on the same thing, that I need to be called out on the exact same thing.
And again, that speaks to, okay, that's simple. That's so simple. And I think some of the best lessons that I come up with or that I hear other people come up with, I feel like always are that simple. And yes, they need to be helpful, but I think being reminded, like what you just spoke to, I'm sure everybody knows that it's good to be nice to yourself or to be your own best friend. We all are aware of that. But that's why, having a coach or being in a group or having a mastermind, something that holds you accountable to recognizing your greatness on the regular is so important, right? So what do you do? I know you do have a coach, so you work with Steve Chandler. Steve Chandler. And have you done, like, what are some of the most profound things that you've invested in for yourself and your business?
So I want to answer that. Can I go back for 1 second to something else you said? So this is something I really want to share that is gonna probably upset a lot of people that are watching and listening to this, and because it's death to the ego. but, I'm talking to myself too. Anything I say to you or anybody else, I'm always talking to myself because I need to hear the same message. But this is the thing that's going to kill your ego and make you think that I'm bullshitting you, is that you may think, and I don't mean you, Jaya, anybody watching this, you may think that you're in the personal growth business or the transformation business or the whatever business, but right in line with what you just said, every single person watching this who either is a coach or a speaker or runs masterminds or creates content or whatever, you are in the reminder business. That is all you are. So stop trying to think that you need to be some guru who has something that nobody's ever shared before. You are in the reminder business. The key is the way you remind people is going to be profoundly different than the way somebody else reminds you.
I love it so much. And I literally have this image when you say that of like taking a backpack off. You just like take the fucking load off, because you don't need to have, you know, first of all, content that's never been created. Like nobody's reinventing the wheel. And we've all heard this, but when, you know, you mentioned content. So let's speak to that. When you are creating content, which is so incredibly important online. It is one of the most valuable things you have alongside your alignment. If you can adopt that and really feel that, you will give yourself permission to show up so much more often and so much more regularly.
Yes, absolutely. And I think one of the easiest ways to have people shift to create content, and this has been a big shift for me, and I feel like you do this a lot, and I love the way you show up online. You share just such beautiful things, such powerful things, such authentic things that are so in alignment with you, and things that are so helpful. Like right at the end of the day, doesn't matter if any of the other shit happens, it just has to be helpful, and your stuff's always really helpful. And I think one of the keys to doing that again make this so much easier, because you know one of my core messages is like, this shit's really not that serious. Like lighten up to level up, right? If we just lighten up about this stuff, don't make it such a big deal, you know, it'll be a lot easier to deal with. But so one of the things you do that I think is beautiful and that's really powerful is instead of focusing on creating content, just document what's going on in your world. Just document. Don't create, just document. And to me, that's like so much easier because I'm going to live my life anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to go out of my way.
That's thinking shit all the time. Yeah, no, and that right there is the essence of embodying your message, right? Because it is, if you've adopted, we've sort of like taken people through this process of like, you know that it must be helpful. You know that you could take the load off, that you have to reinvent it. It only needs to be a reminder. And then when you need to be reminded too. And so when you're living a conscious life and you're aware of your thoughts, you're monitoring your thoughts. So you're choosing the thoughts that you want to focus on more, right? And really all you have to do is just notice an awesome thought. That's all I do. I'm like, that was cool. I'm like, I'm going to write that down. You know, that's it. It's it.
And having the swipe file, like you said, you use your phone. I use my phone too. Like having a swipe file of all your ideas. If you're doing that, if you do that intentionally and purposefully, like I've said this to people before, I could spend a day with somebody and we could just like go out in the world and like go to Target and go eat and do whatever and come up with a year's worth of content. Like if you really just prime yourself to look around. I remember I was walking with a friend in LA. We were actually going to Target. We had walked from breakfast and we were walking over to like in a strip mall over to Target. And this homeless woman who was sitting out by herself there, and she obviously had some mental issues, and she screamed the N-word at my friend. She said, "You're nothing but an N-word." And the girl I was with was white, right? So it was just really, really strange. And she was just like, both of us were like, wow, that was weird. And then we're walking into Target and she's saying, yeah, I really want to do, you know, live videos and stuff. I just don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, did you miss what just happened? And she's like, well, you're going to talk about the woman screaming the N-word at me? And I'm like, well, wasn't it funny that she called you something that there's no way in the world you ever could be? And she's like, yeah. And I said, and has anybody ever told you before that you weren't something that you believed you were, or that you were something that you believed you weren't? Like, well, of course. I said, go into aisle 13 and go do an effing Facebook Live right now about people telling you that you are things you're not and how to deal with that. And she's like, oh my God. And she went and did it. And it's like, that's around us constantly if we're primed to see it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. So do you have paid VIP days where people just hang out with you and go to Target?
I do have. I mean, that's actually the only coaching I do one-on-one now is VIP days, 1 and 2 days. And we haven't done that yet, but secretly, I really want somebody to sign up to do that.
It's like you just call it like a field trip. Yes. You know, it's a content field trip.
Yes, I've been wanting to call it, I want to call it nothing to something VIP days, where we go out and do like nothing and something just emerges from it.
I love it so much. And this is probably why we had a good time hanging out, because I think we live a really similar way.
Yeah,
In fact, I had this really interesting realization last night. Something happens when I get tired, and this repetitive thought starts to happen, or it's not even repetitive, but it's alarming that I notice it. And I'm like, I hate everything. I know to like put a fork in it when I think that I hate everything, because I don't walk around life thinking that, right?
Right.
But something happened last night that really struck me. I was so tired because I've been getting up early and working out in the morning. Okay. Early for me is 7 a.m.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
I mean, I work out anyway, but I'll do it at like 10. But there's something really powerful about getting it done by 8 a.m. So I was really tired last night, and I realized that what was happening is that I couldn't control my thoughts. And that, people think I'm positive. I mean, I am a positive person, naturally positive. But I also flex my ability to control my thoughts all fucking day. Every day. And I notice it because it's a practice, but it really hit me where I was like, that's what's happening right now. I'm just tired. And the thoughts just start to go, and I'm just like, I hate stuff. You're worried you're going to have, that's going to suck. Like, you're just like, those are all there. And so I think this whole like mind control, how do you use the law of attraction? And the very first thing to do is just recognize that it's not going to go away, right? Just like exercise and fitness, it's not like you're never going to not have to work out to be fit.
Right.
You're going to continue to need to have a practice around it. And when you're really tired and burnt out, and working out is hard. And when you're really tired and burnt out, controlling your mindset and manifesting all that you desire is harder.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And it's one of my, probably honestly, my favorite chapter in my own book. And I know that sounds super cocky and I don't give a shit. My favorite chapter.
By the way, you can access for free via the link above.
I can pinch my own book. That's cool. I can hold the magic 8 ball. Look at that. I'm holding the magic 8 ball. Okay, sorry. And I'm tickling an elephant. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I'm getting distracted. One of my favorite chapters of the book is a book called Your Intuition is Drunk, right? And we talk a lot about intuition and about listening to our inner guidance and all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, if you had a friend or a family member or a coach or a mentor or whatever that you always went to because you wanted to get advice and you had questions about things, and you went to go see them one day to ask them this huge question, and they were like piss ass drunk, like on the floor, like spitting up, you wouldn't ask them for help. No. Right? You wouldn't, or whatever help they gave you, you wouldn't take it seriously. And in fact, you'd probably switch into caring mode and be compassionate and say, oh my God, let me take care of them. Like they're in a bad spot. And if drunk doesn't resonate, they're sick, like whatever, right? They're just, they're not in an optimal peak position.
They hate everything.
They hate everything, right? And so why would you take advice from somebody when they're that low? And why would you beat somebody up when they're that low? So just like you can't force somebody to be healthy when they're sick immediately, and you can't force someone to be sober when they're drunk immediately, sometimes the answer is just to chill the F out and allow yourself to naturally just recalibrate. And then all the things you hated are going to be like, oh, really? That was a big deal to me? Oh, all right. Well, that's done now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's as easy as just go to bed.
Yeah.
Just like, Jaya, go to bed.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much that solves all my problems in life. Jaya, go to bed. Jaya, eat the food.
Not in that order. Don't eat in your sleep.
No, exactly. But all the other time in between, yes, eat lots of food. I feel like there are a million ways to keep the energy up, keep up leveling. But the self-awareness, I think, is what we're really speaking to, right?
Totally. Honor yourself. Everybody has enough awareness to know, unless they're lying to themselves. Everybody has enough awareness to know if they're taking a break because they're lazy and fearful and scared, or if they're taking a break because they truly need to take a break. Only you can answer that for yourself, but you know the answer. And if the answer is you truly need some rest, don't beat yourself up. Take a friggin' break. Yeah,
exactly. Even if it's a couple of days. Right? You know what I mean? Like did we cut out?
Yeah. I lost you for a second, but I think you're back.
Okay, good. So let's segue into doing, do we want to call it the seat of freedom or the laser coaching?
The chair of freedom, the electric chair, whatever.
So the way this is going to work is there are some people in the Zoom room with us right now. Cool. And if you're watching live, you're able to get on the Zoom room, before the broadcast. And you pay attention in my Facebook group or to my Facebook post, because I invited everybody to opt in and get the link sent to them. So if you want to do this next week or the week after, make sure to sign up. But there are a couple people here in the Zoom room with us. So Andrea and Charisse, go ahead and raise your hand or put a comment in if you would like to jump into the hot seat. We call it a hot seat, the laser coaching, the super caring, compassionate, and nurturing seat.
I didn't sign up for that.
The seat of nurture. No?
Can we, I wish people that were on, because there's people on the Facebook too. You guys should have been on Zoom, but that's okay. We still love you.
Well, see, they lose, but they win if they want to type in comments. But this is the cool thing, is that somebody gets to actually come on with us right now, yes, who's camera ready. And you also don't have to be on video. You could just be on audio. But I'll see here. Does anybody on the Facebook feed have a question? You could type it in. We are streaming to a couple different places, so it might be hard to pinpoint where a question is. I can see it here.
Somebody said yay to a target date, so I love that person.
Yay. Crystal. Oh, Charisse, we got a winner. Charisse. I'm going to get you, girl. Let's see. But it doesn't let me. Interesting. Charisse, see if you can put your hand down.
Do you want me to promote her to a panelist?
That's why, because now you're the host. I'm not.
I can do it. I can promote her to a panelist. You want me to do that?
Do it. Charisse, come on down, girl.
So Charisse is being promoted to a panelist. Let's see. I think she's here. Okay, she's here. And then
Good. Charisse.
Okay. Hold on. I'm adjusting things. Why is it not? It's not letting me.
Oh, wait. I can probably you want me to turn your video on? Or I don't know if I can.
I don't care. I'm not really camera ready.
Oh, that's okay.
That's okay.
It's totally up to you. You're good. I mean, your picture is beautiful, so we will stare at that.
Okay. Thank you. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've been on enough videos. So I felt pressured to raise my hand and hop in here, but I'm taking notes. Because I'm also participating on Jaya's back end of doing this stuff. So
Charisse is all up on my back end.
I was going to say, Jaya was on top of me. Now you're on her back end. What the hell did I sign up for? Like, I don't get this.
So this is awesome, actually. I'm taking notes, and I love the whole the field day thing, because I do struggle with content and because I think I know all my stuff, so I don't know what other people don't know. Yeah. So I have a really hard time trying to come up with, stuff to tell people, because I'm like, everybody knows that already. Yeah. So I love that whole field day thing and really paying attention to just what comes up in your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the reminder again that you're in the reminder business. Like, great if they already know it. This is something else I got from Steve Chandler that I love. Somebody had asked him one time about feeling like they're repeating themselves and saying the same things over and over again, and he said, repeat yourself. It's like the chorus of a song. Like, nobody has the chorus of a song come up and say, oh God, it's the chorus again. People love the chorus. It's the words they know. Yeah. They want to hear it. So just keep reminding us, keep pointing at what you know to be true, even if you're saying what you think everybody knows.
Right. That's a great point. I love that chorus part. Even if we sing it wrong, it's still good.
Oh yeah, we sing it wrong all the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My wife knows none of the words to songs, but she still sings every one of them. It's hilarious.
Great.
So Charisse, I'm wondering if you have a really strong connection to your core values or your business pillars and the stuff that you teach, like that you would create content to get paid for.
I don't know. So since I don't know, I probably don't have a really strong grasp of that. I mean, my whole thing is about getting shit done. That's like my thing. So it's either helping people get shit done by taking things off their hands and helping them with things that they struggle with on, a creative or techie side, or helping them on the consulting side of it by decluttering their brain and getting their ideas out into the world.
Yeah.
So but the whole envelope that it's in is getting shit done. Mm-hmm. So, but I think I struggle a little bit with maybe combining the two pieces, or the importance of helping people come to that realization, because you can sit there with the most brilliant ideas in your head for months and years even, you know, and like how many people create vision boards and stuff at the end of the year, and they've got all these brilliant things they're going to do the following year, and then, you know, now we're in June, it's 6 months later, how many of those things are still sitting there in the idea stage and haven't even like peaked out into the world? And I feel so passionate about helping people get their stuff out there, because it's not doing them any good, and it's not doing anybody else any good if it's sitting in their head.
Yes.
It's like I want to slap people in the face when they're not getting the stuff out, you know.
I feel like you just basically created a whole content plan right there. Can I share with you what I got from that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You are a slap in the face, but like the loving, like just like you're drunk, right? Like the drunk person, you just slap, you're just like, let's wake up. You know, it's either that or water over the head. Okay. So I feel like that is the flavor of your content right there, is like, remember, you matter, your message matters, and you need to be reminding people of that all the time. So I love to work with the 4 pillars of your business, and these 4 pillars you could work with in terms of creating content, but you also can create programs. So it always is an alignment where people are attracted to you into like a funnel, if you would say, to something that they could also buy from you. Right? So it's how you really show up. So I feel like you just said 4 things. Delegating, and even though people hire you and delegate to you, you know what it takes to delegate. You know how it's helpful to delegate, like the communication it takes to delegate, the things you can delegate. There's like 5 Facebook Lives right there. Did you know you can delegate X, Y, and Z? Did you know if you are delegating, it's helpful if you, like that kind of thing, right?
Right.
Decluttering the brain, and also probably some kind of like mindset of getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because why? You're holding yourself back for a reason. It's probably because you don't believe you even could be that successful, that you could be that impactful. So that piece of it, and you could do a lot of like, are you sitting on a bunch of content, not because you don't think it's good enough, but because you're afraid of the attention you'll get if it was good enough?
Yeah. Bam.
Right? So there,
like,
there's how you can create content out of it, right? Or like the taking action plan. Like there's a piece you could adopt Jason's field trip right there. Like what inspires you to take action? I wasn't feeling like taking action, and then X, Y, and Z happened, and now I just got all this stuff done. Notice in your life where you can, like, what triggers can inspire you to take action? So that was kind of 3+ or 4, but then boom, you can start looking for those things in your life. When I delegate something to you and you're like, I really liked how she did that. I'm going to put myself right. I really liked how she delegated that to me because I was able to understand really easily. Make a Facebook post about how the communication around delegating is so important.
Right. Yeah, it is. Communication is important.
Yeah.
Because if you can't communicate how to delegate, I just actually encountered that with a friend and colleague of mine too, who is having a problem with that. So it really is a big piece that you want to delegate, but there has to be that communication fit in there as well.
Yeah, totally. That's huge. And that would be really helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I'd sign up for that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Jason and I were talking about VAs or hiring out. So Jason, do you feel like, out of that stuff we just kind of came up with, what would be helpful for you to hear about?
Well, I mean, so much of that stuff will be super helpful at a tactical level. And then for me, I think that what would really sell me on that is I need to know, I need to know this as a creator of courses and programs and products and things like this, but also whoever my potential buyer is, they need to know as well, is what's the gap, right? Like, what do they believe coming in before they talk to you? And what would you love them to believe is true instead when they leave? And so when you're talking about all those things, the thing that comes up in my head is that as the buyer, I'm going to say, but that won't work for me because, and then comes the belief of why the amazing things you're teaching aren't going to work for me. And so part of what you teach is, now you may think delegation won't work for you because you're a perfectionist. And let me tell you the truth about what it looks like if you're a perfectionist who needs to delegate. And now you're closing the gap on what I believe. And now I'm like, well, crap. I mean, if she solved that, then yeah, I want to learn all about the tactics and practices that go along with that. So closing that gap is super important.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I love that. Like
Yep.
you could do a whole month of content on objections.
Yes.
Getting shit done. Like, what are people's objections to actually getting shit done?
Yeah.
Right.
You think you're too tired. You think your idea isn't good enough. You think, you know, you're afraid someone else is going to take your idea if you put it out. You're afraid,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you could list 10 objections and create content out of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to lower people's resistance, because if you go right at somebody with a solution and they don't believe the solution can work for them because they're not special enough, or they have special circumstances that nobody else has, because we all think we're so special, you know, nobody else has the issues that I have. There's just going to be a wall of resistance. So if you can help to have them relax into, you know, hey, well, maybe it's not possible that maybe it isn't true that perfectionists aren't able to delegate. What if I told you that perfectionists are perfect to delegate because they're so clear on the outcomes they want, and they're so good at attracting people who are also very detail oriented? Like, what if you can flip around the belief they have to actually empower them, and then their resistance lowers and says, okay, well, maybe this is possible for me. All right, well, tell me how I do that. And then comes your program that tells them how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist and a control freak myself. So, you know, if somebody trusts me to handle some aspect of their own business, I'm pretty anal about it. You know, like I double check, I triple check, I get in there, as Jaya will know, that I'll be like, I am going to solve this problem right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might need to find, if you're a perfectionist, you may need to find like a VA who works in that manner, or a coach who works in that stream too.
Totally.
Oh, I love that. You could do a whole series on how to identify your personality type so that you can hire somebody, and then what personality type complements that, right? Because I'm an inspired action taker. I am the opposite of a perfectionist. I mean, I always say I'm a good enough and go girl. Like it has to be good. Definitely has to be good, but it has to be good enough, and that's it. That's my standard. So it's really great to work with someone who is more detail oriented, because I would never think of those things.
I love that. And actually that's a really powerful way to not just segment your potential audience, but also to really get them interested in what it is you offer. Is you could even, you know, put out like an online quiz and just ask people, like, you know, find out which of the 4 delegation types you are, or which of the 4 CEO types you are. And you'll get so much valuable insight as to what your audience is really struggling with. And you can customize the message that you're sending to these people based on the way they delegate, the way they run their business.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, Charisse, I just created a quiz, how to find your spiritual zone of genius.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't put it out yet, but I can help you with that.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. There is your actionable step. I love for you to
Boom.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Does that feel good? Do you feel like you got some value from us?
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, because you just get brains stuck in, like, I can help other people unstick their brains, but I can't unstick my own.
Yes, of course. None of us can.
Yeah.
That's why coaches have coaches and barbers have barbers and doctors.
That's right.
You think I can make this beautiful thing happen on my own?
Exactly. Well, Charisse, thank you so much for being our first guest on Free Spirit Radio. It's amazing. You're awesome.
Thank you, Charisse.
Thank you.
Good luck. You have it. It's an awesome message you have, and it's super, super valuable, especially for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. So definitely keep at it. It's very, very needed.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason and Jaya.
Awesome. Well, this is amazing. And I do just have one more question for you, Jason.
Yes.
To wrap this up, okay?
Okay.
And I want to know whether it's you're leaving a room, you've had a conversation with someone new, you've given a speech, you are, you've died. Let's just cut to the chase.
Fantastic. Wait, did I die on stage? Because that's happened before too.
Not for the sake of the audience specifically, I hope not, okay? But let's just say it's the end, right, of something.
Yeah.
What is it that you really want people to feel from you? Like, what is the essence that you want to leave, your legacy, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, my big hope the thing that I know I won't solve, but I hope to make a dent in before I leave the earth is to in some part eradicate the massive level of seriousness that we have in our lives. And so if I can help people to see, just like we said earlier, like, you know, if I can help people to see that the easiest way to level up is to lighten up, to really kind of loosen your grip, to be a little more relaxed and playful with what it is you're doing, that it just makes everything easier to do and it feels better in the process. That's my big takeaway. If you can have a little more fun in life and not take things so seriously, the entire world opens up for you. At least in my experience, when I'm not being overly serious, that's when my life works better.
Yeah. Awesome. And I know people feel that from you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're walking it, you're talking it, you're embodying it. You're amazing. And thank you so much for being the first guest of Free Spirit Radio. I can't wait to have you back on, really soon.
Well, I love you. And again, just to celebrate you and the work you're doing, you are the embodiment of consistency and service and authenticity and value. And the people that follow you, they're all nodding their head and saying yes right now as they're watching this, because they know that I'm speaking the truth. And so thank you for how you're showing up in the world. It's just an incredible service to all of us.
Thank you. I received that. And now you're the master of this, so you're going to have to get it off live Facebook for us.
Okay. I don't know.
You're going to go to more. Hit more.
Okay. I'm always going to more. Okay, here we go. So we're going to stop live stream. Okay, so bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, I stopped the live stream and I'm assuming it stopped. And I am going to, hold on a second. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, I think, wait for it. Okay, I think I have removed everybody also, so it's just me.
Okay, awesome.
Okay,
so
cool.
Then what I want you to do, because now I'm not the panelist.
Wait, well, let me see if I can, okay, I'm clicking make host again.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Let's see if that does
good.
anything.
That was, okay, I will not do that again. Whatever I did, I'm like, and you can't see me, and goodbye. Goodbye, hello.
That's awesome.
Oh, I think a lot of people are commenting over on my personal page, but we couldn't see any of it, so whatever, that's fine. But that's good, because then it's going to give people incentive. Like, that was massive value we just gave her.
Totally.
Dude.
Tons of value.
Right?
Of value. Masterclass level shit.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so let's see. What I'm going to do is